Farrah Fawcett, and Lee Majors were once the crown jewels of Hollywood, two shining stars whose lives and careers seemed destined for glamour, applause, and fairy tale headlines. But behind the sparkling red carpets, the flashing cameras, and the public adoration, a far deeper story was unfolding. For decades, Lee Majors spoke almost nothing about the love he had lost, the heartbreak he endured, and the emotional journey that would quietly define him. Until now, this is the story of ambition, passion, fame, and silence, the story of Lee Majors and Farrah Fawcett, a Hollywood romance that dazzled the world but quietly fractured behind the scenes. Early lives and the making of stars. Before they were a headline, before Hollywood knew their names, Lee and Farrah were simply two young people chasing dreams bigger than themselves. Lee Majors, born Harvey Lee Urey on April 23, 1939, in Wyandotte, Michigan, faced hardship from the very start. Orphaned by the age of 2, he was raised by relatives in Middlesboro, Kentucky, where life demanded quiet strength and resilience. Lee learned early that survival required keeping his emotions close, internalizing his feelings, and relying on personal fortitude. Sports became his first outlet. A talented football player, he earned a scholarship to Indiana University, later transferring to Eastern Kentucky University until a back injury abruptly ended his athletic aspirations. It was this setback that opened the door to a new path, acting. Lee moved to Los Angeles in the early 1960s, a tall, strong-jawed figure whose calm confidence immediately caught the attention of casting directors. His first major breakthrough came in 1965, landing the role of Heath Barkley in the TV western The Big Valley. Sharing the screen with legends like Barbara Stanwyck, Lee captivated audiences not with flamboyance, but with steady magnetic presence. People were drawn to his quiet charisma, a man who never sought the spotlight, yet naturally commanded it. Meanwhile, Farrah Fawcett was making her own way, a rising beauty from Corpus Christi, Texas, born February 2, 1947. She grew up in a warm, close-knit family, but it was her natural charm, radiant smile, and sun-kissed charisma that turned heads early on. From high school cheerleading to winning national beauty contests, Farrah seemed to carry the spotlight effortlessly. Her journey led her to the University of Texas, where she was recognized as one of the 10 most beautiful co-eds in the country, a title that quickly caught the attention of Hollywood talent scouts. Though hesitant at first, Farrah took a bold step, moving to Los Angeles to explore modeling. Her photos exuded not just beauty, but an approachable warmth, a rare combination that made her irresistible to photographers and audiences alike. Soon, she appeared in commercials, magazines, and small television roles, steadily carving her place in an industry notorious for discarding the unremarkable. Farrah's presence suggested greatness, and the world would soon notice. When two worlds collided, it was in the late 1960s that fate intervened. Lee Majors and Farrah Fawcett first met at a Hollywood party. Lee was already rising as a dependable, serious star, while Farrah was just beginning to navigate the glimmering maze of Tinseltown. But, as witnesses would later recount, their connection was immediate. There was an unspoken understanding, a magnetic pull beyond the superficialities of fame and appearance. Soon, dating became inevitable. As Farrah's star ascended, Lee remained a steadfast presence at her side. Their love appeared effortless, a union of two ambitious souls seemingly aligned in perfect harmony. By 1973, their relationship culminated in marriage, a celebration of love, beauty, and rising fame. The world watched with admiration, seeing in them a picture-perfect Hollywood couple. At the same time, Lee's career soared. Landing the role of Colonel Steve Austin in The $6 Million Man, Lee became a household name. Meanwhile, Farrah, embracing modeling and acting opportunities, started appearing in commercials and television roles that highlighted her charm and beauty. From the outside, they were unstoppable, a couple balancing love and careers with apparent grace. The first cracks appear. Yet behind the polished smiles and public appearances, tension quietly mounted. The greatest threat was not scandal or competition, but the relentless march of time and fame. Long filming schedules, demanding projects, and a whirlwind of social appearances left little room for shared intimacy. Lee, dedicated and loyal, struggled to keep their relationship anchored amidst the chaos. Farrah, ambitious and vibrant, sought her own identity beyond being Lee Majors' wife. By the mid-1970s, the distance between them grew. It began subtly: missed dinners, exhausted evenings, distracted conversations. Over time, the minor gaps widened into emotional chasms. Their love was still real, but the pressures of Hollywood were slowly redefining it. Then came 1976, the turning point. Farrah Fawcett joined the cast of Charlie's Angels, a show that catapulted her from rising star to global icon almost overnight. Her portrayal of Jill Monroe made her an immediate household name, and a single red swimsuit poster, selling over 12 million copies, cemented her status as one of the most recognizable figures in entertainment history. With fame came a relentless schedule, paparazzi magazine covers, and public scrutiny. Even Lee, seasoned by his own stardom, struggled to adjust to the speed and intensity of Farrah's newfound celebrity. Their once private connection, so carefully nurtured, now existed in fragmented moments amidst a life of relentless public attention. Heartbreak on a public stage. The cracks deepened. Reports began surfacing of Farrah's growing closeness to Ryan O'Neal, another prominent actor within their social circle. The first images, public, undeniable, hit Lee like a punch. The woman he had loved, supported, and believed in had moved on without warning, without conversation, and in full view of the world. Lee Majors' response was quiet, almost imperceptible to the public eye. Unlike many celebrities, he did not rush to press interviews, statements, or public declarations of anger. Instead, he withdrew, retreating from social events, turning down media requests, and maintaining a deliberate silence. His quietness became a statement of its own, a shield against further pain, a way to cope without spectacle. Friends described Lee during this period as polite, professional, yet emotionally distant. A man whose charm remained intact, but whose heart seemed guarded by invisible walls. He dated other women, yes, but the openness and vulnerability that once defined him were never fully restored. Meanwhile, Farrah embraced her fame and her relationship with Ryan O'Neal, living her life under the unblinking eye of the public. Years of silence and private grief. When their divorce was finalized in 1982, it marked an official end, but not an emotional one. Lee Majors remained unmarried for nearly 2 decades, continuing his career with shows like The Fall Guy, 1981 to 1986, but friends noted a subtle shift, a dimming of the spark, a guardedness in his personal life. Farrah, in contrast, remained in the public eye, navigating highs and lows of career and romance, her story unfolding in vivid color for all to see. Then, years later, a private reunion was proposed by a mutual friend. Farrah, softened by time, was willing. Lee, hesitant, considered it, but ultimately declined. Not out of anger, not from bitterness, but because too much time had passed, too much pain lingered, and reopening the past risked reopening wounds he had worked decades to heal. Illness, loss, and final words. In 2006, Farrah Fawcett faced a new battle, diagnosed with a rare, aggressive cancer. Her struggle was shared publicly through video diaries, giving the world a window into her courage and vulnerability. Lee Majors did not attend to her publicly, he did not speak to the press or make appearances. Yet those close to him confirmed he followed her progress, quietly, deeply affected, carrying grief privately as he had through every stage of their shared history. Farrah passed away on June 25, 2009. The world mourned, and many wondered how Lee would respond. Then a single heartfelt statement emerged from him. She was an angel on earth, and now an angel forever. No speeches, no interviews, no public attendance at the funeral. Just a simple, enduring expression of love and respect. For Lee, this was closure on his terms, a silent acknowledgement of a love that never truly faded, preserved in quiet dignity rather than public spectacle. Legacy of a love unfinished. The story of Lee Majors and Farrah Fawcett is not one of scandal or betrayal alone, nor is it a tale of simple triumph or loss. It is a story of two extraordinary individuals navigating fame, ambition, and emotion in an unforgiving world. It is about love that endures quietly, heartbreak that shapes the soul, and choices made in the shadows, away from public eyes. Some wounds never fully heal. Some love stories remain unfinished, not because they didn't matter, but because they mattered too much. And in that, Lee and Farrah's story remains unforgettable, a testament to Hollywood's glamour, its challenges, and the private human hearts beating beneath the limelight. Lee Majors' silence, Farrah Fawcett's visibility, and the decades between them reveal an essential truth. Fame magnifies life, but it cannot contain love, loss, or memory. Their story reminds us that the most profound heartbreaks are not always seen. The most enduring love does not always speak. Some stories don't end neatly. Some lives, like Lee's and Farrah's, leave their mark quietly, subtly, and forever in the hearts of those who remember.